Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. It's the one and only V the Grill Economist, and we have with us our special guest, the one and only Mr. X, and the man who is the ever seen, known as simply as Frank. What's going on, guys? How are you? Today's show, we're going to be covering some very important topics. We got some hot stuff being worked on right now. I can't leak too much about it yet, but eventually the time will come. I think it's going to be life-altering, life-changing. I mean that in a big, 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 big way. It's huge. With that being said, we're going to cover about privacy. We're going to cover about how to protect yourself in this modern age.
We're doing some new stuff today, though.
Yeah, that's some new stuff.
Yeah, we're talking about some stuff we haven't talked before, and these are things you could do for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it, gentlemen. Go for it.
John. And it's so secret we can't even talk about it.
Yeah, it's so secret. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk.
They could, but then they'll have to kill me. I don't want that.
Yeah, yeah. We already had to change your identity once.
Yeah,
and
Well, the whole idea, with privacy, it's got a lot of stigma. It's got a lot of things attached to it. A lot of emotional responses. Privacy? What are you doing wrong?
Yeah. What do you have to hide? I don't have anything to hide.
Yeah.
I love when people say that. It's like,
well, if you don't, if you don't have anything to hide, let me see your underwear. I want to see what color it is.
Yeah.
No, we can't talk about that. So we do have things to hide, and we should hide things. It's part of our nature. Just like that's why we wear clothing. That's why we have locks on doors and stuff. So, and now more than ever, we have really good technology. We have really something new with cryptos and money. It's like fire. It can be used against us.
Yep.
But we can use it to set ourselves free. And so we just got to be aware. So really, it's about your attitude and your habits. Privacy is about what you decide to do. So some things like, for example, when I tell people it's a good idea not to have your home address on your driver's license, they just can't figure it out. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna get in trouble. The statutes say I have to. Okay, fine. Then wait for the cops to help you when you're getting mugged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So you got to take it. You got to take your privacy. It's really important. It's money. Your privacy really is your money.
No, it really is, man. It really, the privacy is your money. It's the most valuable thing you have is your personhood. And people don't realize how your personhood is used as collateral for the nation's debt. They don't realize how your personhood is exploited by the state, is exploited by corporations. We all have heard about the legalese, especially some of the mix-ups and the craziness happening with the sovereign citizens movement. They get all this thing confused because you know why? They don't have the financial sophistication on how to properly navigate this whole entire thing. You know, so it's really quite incredible, man, to say the least.
Yeah.
We were just talking about something in our chat room the other day. We were talking about free services. I don't know if we were talking about Google. I forget what it is, but we're all becoming increasingly dependent upon these free services, whether it's entertainment, infotainment, our email, our social networks. Social networks are a big deal. Like our presidential elections now hang on what's going on social networks, even more than they do the broadcast channels, the main news networks, right? So these things are becoming increasingly important. And I forget what the circumstances were, but someone was talking about a free service, whether it was Gmail or something like that. And I said, well, one thing's clear: if it's free, you're the thing that's for sale.
Absolutely.
If a service is for sale, if a service is for free, then you're what's for sale. That's sort of your starting principle. So your Facebook, your Google, whatever you're using, you're the product that's for sale. You're the one that's being served up there. So you had mentioned to me just some very basic things, and then we're going to go deeper down the rabbit hole. But just some basic stuff about protecting yourself online, and just even your physical information that's lying around. So what would you say, sort of like 3 things everybody could do today? And I'm pulling, it sounds like a setup for something you were prepared for. I literally just pulled that out of thin air. What's three things everyone could do like today to start being more private in the way they conduct their affairs?
Number one, this sounds so basic, but it's just the beginning. Don't receive mail at your house where you live in your name. And now I know all your utilities are in your name, and that's fine, and they should be. That's fine. That's a different level of privacy. We could talk about that way down the road, but for right now, at least get mail in an alias. So where this is really important for some people is like a single woman, right, living by herself. I always have her start receiving the name of like a man's name, like William Smith or something.
I'm thinking of all these like really, really masculine names, like really dangerous.
Butch or something. Yeah, right.
Blade, like
Yeah.
Blade kills a lot.
But a boring name, a boring name. It just looks like everything else. Or sometimes I might set up a company for a title where it's Mr. and Mrs. James, but that's actually a company. But it looks
Right.
like a married couple. So I just,
That's great.
because there's all kinds of. I mean, you see it already. Everybody gets bombarded with phone calls and letters in the mail, solicitations, because your name is so available and it's so matchable through all the databases. It's just so don't do that. Just that's the one
So
thing. Don't get mail.
what's the upside of that? Like, what are you protecting yourself from there? Like, because someone hears that and they think, oh, what's the difference? Everybody knows where I live. Why would I go to the trouble of doing that? Because there is some trouble in doing that.
Because that data is sent all over the world. So here, look at it this way. Go to whitepages.com and search on your name and search on your last name and your town. And then go to Intellius on the internet, Intellius, I think it's .com, and search on your name. Now I'll tell you this. Here's a scary thing. TransUnion, I saw this personally. Someone showed me who has a subscription to do this. And TransUnion has a database that it's called a relation database. So like here's how accurate it is.
I'm searching my name on Intellius.com.
Yeah, let's say you're 40 years old, right? So there's quite a bit of years there since college, right? And so you do a search on your TransUnion relation database, and you can only do it through an agent. This is not available very easily. You're not going to get this through a credit report. So you get this search, and it'll show that you stayed at your friend's house after college because you were looking for an apartment, where you slept on his couch for a week because you were looking for a place in his town.
Yep.
It'll show that, even though your name wasn't on utility bills or you weren't getting mail there. Somehow they get that data.
I have that. It's funny. It's like I had to do I was
Okay.
switching phone services, right?
Right.
And I went from Verizon to T-Mobile because I just got sick of paying Verizon through the nose, and T-Mobile services is just killer these days. So so I switched over, and I have a credit lock on my profile, so I had to answer like security questions for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're asking, which places have you been associated with? Dude, it was like P.O. boxes from 10 years ago, places that I stayed at. I didn't even live there. I wasn't even a resident. And then they nailed me on stuff like that. It was crazy.
It's all there, yeah. The whole history, yeah.
Wow, there's a guy who lives a town over from me. Same name. He lives a town over from me, but he's 73 years old.
Ooh.
That's weird, man.
It could be you.
It could be. I've had businesses in that town.
So number one is don't receive mail in your name. But yeah, definitely check for your name. Search it. Google your name. You'd be surprised what's out there.
Yeah, I'm looking on this Intellius, and it's showing me my dad's name, my wife's name, my little sister, my big sister.
Yeah,
it's showing the last 7 cities I've lived in.
I used to, way back before we had these tools, I used to hire a private investigator every like couple of years, and I would have him do a search for me, like I was lost, right? Mm-hmm. He knew it was me, but I would just say, go search on and I would just give him my name and maybe a date of birth or something. I wouldn't give him everything. Mm-hmm. So he'd come back with a report, and as long as the report had everything that was good with me on there, like data that didn't mean anything to me, I was good with that. And then every once in a while it would come up, like one time it showed a fax number at my actual house. I don't know how in the heck they got that on, it was in a Google database. So all I did was go to Google, and I didn't delete the record. I just changed it. I just changed the street address.
Wow.
So just stuff like that. I mean, so just be aware. So the one thing I watch my wife do all the time, I pay cash for everything. My wife uses a credit card and her phone because she gets discounts. And yeah, it's nice to get a bit of a discount, but you're not really getting a discount. It's like Frank said, man, they're selling your data.
Yeah.
They're watching you, and okay, maybe that's not a big deal. Maybe you'd rather get paid for that. Okay. I don't like that. So just be aware of, look at how much time you're spending on your phone, interacting with applications on your phone for your convenience. Whenever you're doing that, you're giving up your data when it's convenient. So just keep that in mind. And you have no security. I mean, unless you really understand security and you have the right apps on your phone, you have no security.
This brings me to the next one. You had mentioned this earlier. So that's the first thing, is change your address. What would be involved? The person would have to they would want to set up probably an LLC.
Just your name on your address. Just like, okay, if someone wants to send mail to John Singleton at his home address, I'm going to tell him, send it to Mary Jane at the same address. That's it. That doesn't cost me anything to do that.
Oh, okay. So as simple as that.
Don't even
Just
put my
don't
name
use
on
your
the
name.
envelope. And because I'm at a house, it'll show up. Now some apartments are kind of funky. They give you a hard time. So you gotta have to set that up with the local delivery guy, and you shouldn't have a problem.
Mhm.
And then if you want to take it to the next level, I mean, you could set up a PO box. You can do a mailbox service. That's even better for some situations. Like if you're going to run a business or something, that's a good idea. If you're going to hold some assets in a company, and when I do when I use the postal form at the mailbox place, you guys may recognize this. It's form 1583. It's a postal
Mhm.
form.
Yeah.
Okay, so on there you'll see like in box 7 at the bottom right, there's a place for a trade name. So if I'm going to do one for a company, what I'll do is just write the company name without the Inc. designation or without the LLC designation, because if you put the designation, then they want to know all about the company.
Mhm.
So I just use my company name as a DBA.
Mm,
So I can receive mail in my name or my company name doing it that way.
cool. You mentioned software on your phone, things like that, just to kind of protect you.
Yeah, you've got the article
on.
how to ghost your phone. You can ghost your phone in your desktop. There's apps out there. The best apps for security are open source, in my opinion.
Mhm.
They're free. You can download them. Sometimes they might take a little expertise. Um, yeah, so I mean, I would get some security on your electronic devices. Now, so we mentioned mail, and then postal, managing your mail, and then we get into electronic devices. So be cautious about using free apps, like you said. And then what about security for desktop? So you want to get a virtual private network, and you want to have some software on your phone that's protecting you. I don't know what that is because there's so many different apps out there.
Mhm.
Just be aware of that. You can search around, but ghost your phone. That article tells you a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I like to. There's in terms of a VPN, I use a super simple VPN called Tunnel Bear. I think it is.
I love
Mhm.
Tunnel Bear.
Yeah, right. That's a good one. Yeah.
Tunnel Bear. Sometimes when V does something really nice, I call him Tunnel Bear. So
That just doesn't come out right. at all. Sounds kind of gay, buddy. Frank,
oh,
you
V, my tunnel
ruined me,
bear.
bro. You ruined. Thanks, Frank. Thanks. You wrecked any sort
No,
of
but
masculine reputation that you created it. Tunnel Bear.
Tunnel
Hey
Bear.
man, my name's Tunnel Bear. Hey.
Don't be so sensitive, Tunnel Bear. But
Oh God.
but here's the thing. Last night actually, I didn't even know this. I have a subscription to Tunnel Bear. It's a subscription service, and I forget what the issue was. I was searching something, and I think it was giving me a problem because I was in the U.S. or something like that. And I was like, oh, I have that Tunnel Bear subscription, and sure enough, it worked on my phone. I was able to download it and sign in and use Tunnel Bear, and now I'm in Canada. So very easy way to do it. And that's pure. I mean, that's consumer stuff. That's really easy to use.
There was some really cool. There was a decentralized exchange I wanted to sign up for, and I'm too lazy sometimes to switch on the VPN and all this. I was like, forget it. But what I was thinking is, it wouldn't let me because I was calling from an IP address from the States, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, I wonder, would it let you go through the whole thing? I mean, because at some point they're going to get your ID and they're going to say, okay, if you don't have non-US ID, they're
That's
still going to say,
difficulty. Yeah. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's a tough one because I had a situation where I had an exchange where one of the tokens I bought a long time ago during the crypto boom was on that exchange, and since I've used it, they've decided they wanted to keep Americans off of it. You see that you see that trend with cryptos. So in the past, whenever you just put your VPN on and you're cool. Well, they wanted passports to confirm, and so they would let me take the coins off, but they wouldn't let me trade. And the problem was the only reason I was using this particular place was because they were one of the only ones who had a wallet for this weird coin I was in. So it's actually kind of stuck there.
Yeah,
I could do with it. So what are you gonna do?
well, there's some things we're kind of limited right now, but yeah. So on secure, like if you're going to access your cryptos or even your bank account, sure, you can use a secure computer. Like I have Linux on my computer. I've had it for a couple of years. It's 99% as convenient as any other operating system I've used, with some exception. So I've never had a problem. But what I recommend is just get any old, you can get a stripped down computer or a used one that you purge the hard drive. In fact, what I do is get a used computer and then I take the hard drive out and put an SSD in there. So it's faster. And then I only use that. Like that's why we have the what do you call it? The crypto manager. That's one example. Like you could just go the ape. You could just get that, or you can get any computer that you only use for cryptos and have on it the desktop for an open source operating system. The open source has most security, like Linux. There's some other versions of Linux.
Mhm.
So do that, and then if it's small enough, keep it in a vault. Otherwise, keep it in a secure place, and maybe put it in a Faraday cage where no one can grab the data on it.
How do you do that?
Well, it's funny that you ask, Frank, because this is what I use my microwave for. No
Really?
joke. Yeah, no joke. My microwave is not plugged in. I use it for my phones and my computers. Yeah.
That's John, you never cease to be hilarious. So you don't use your microwave to cook things. You
Nope.
use it as
I
a
put my
Faraday cage.
computer and my phones. Yep.
That's hilarious. Wow. Now, John, to be
the
fair,
microwave?
most
Yeah.
people aren't going to go to these levels, right? We know that. Okay. They're going to listen and they're going to be like, well, I like to cook in my microwave and I'm not that worried. But is there a meaningful difference in protecting yourself that a person could gain from just doing things like using VPNs and changing their mailing address?
There is a meaningful difference to the extent, like today, the data is being sold. Okay, so most people don't care. Okay, fine. Someone's selling my data. It doesn't hurt me. But what if someone were to alter your data or use it against you in some way? Not that you're a
Yeah.
target all the time, but I'm not saying that's likely. But why not have good habits now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the whole idea. Is what I said at the beginning of this call. Let's have some good habits because look, we're all adults.
Mm-hmm.
We should do things the right way.
Yeah. That's a good point. I'm also running. I lost an election for office in El Paso County,
Hmm?
according
Yeah.
to Google. Yeah, I didn't even know I was running. Look at this guy running and he's a Democrat. Oh, God.
It's okay, Frank. You'll have another chance.
Yeah, he was El Paso Commission District 1. He was
Oh.
running, and he won the primary, but he lost the election. So wow,
Next
finding all
time.
these Franks. Yeah, next time.
Yeah. So there's the electronic security, there's the money security, and mail. Mail is the core backbone of everything. Try to reduce your mail. Try to get email on everything.
Mhm.
Use an encrypted email, like I use Proton Mail. There's all kinds out there.
I love Proton Mail.
Yeah,
It's great.
it has.
It's
I
great.
paid for it too. That's the first email I ever paid for. It's got nice features. Yeah.
Yeah, I pay for it too, and it's
Mhm.
it's really good. It's very consistent. They've got good apps. It's it's not you don't have to be some kind of Linux using coder to use it. It's very
Mhm.
simple. Very simple.
Yeah. Now I know we've talked before about setting up companies for managing cash flow. Common stuff we've discussed many times. I was just talking with one of my clients who's a chiropractor, and he got sued, and it was a case where it's so old. He really has no liability. The company's already gone, but he was the guarantor on it. So I said to him, just set up a company account and make either yourself or your wife and one of your children, because he has adult children, make them the signers, and they're not going to be able to take anything. Just use an LLC. And he's the kind of guy where he'll use it for other things too.
Yeah.
So that's pretty simple stuff we were talking about. But there's something I'm getting into. I'm just learning this right now. But
well, hey, before you go there, we keep hearing all these reports about important figures, people like Joe Biggs, people in our world who are getting kicked out of their banks because of who they are.
So, politically?
Yeah, Chase Bank is targeting conservatives.
Oh, geez.
The only one who comes to mind is Joe Biggs, because I follow him, and he used to be on InfoWars.
Okay.
And I can't remember the guy who is the new head of the Proud Boys.
Okay.
Which I'm pretty sure he's an Hispanic guy who's in charge of this white supremacist group.
Jeez.
Well, they say it's white supremacists. That's the joke. Is that it's
okay? All right.
It's a completely ridiculous thing to say. The Proud Boys was Gavin McInnes's.
Yeah, it was like Rico something. His name was.
Yeah, so they're obviously
Ricky something.
They're obviously white supremacists. Rico runs it. So anyway,
so how do you get an account then? What do you do?
He got kicked out of Chase. Well, I'm thinking these guys are probably prime candidates to start operating under companies that have multiple signatures on the account, so that they're harder to find, wouldn't you say?
I would think so.
I mean, it still could be hard technically, but
yeah,
but their companies aren't going to be well known.
Well, as a signer,
but yeah.
Like if I owed the bank money, it doesn't matter if I'm signing for a company or myself. My name would appear in check systems.
Yeah, you're still. People always ask us that when we're helping them set things up. They're like, they asked for my social security number, and it's like, well, yeah, you're still. They're still going
But
to
you're
ask
not.
for that.
That doesn't make you the account holder. You're just
Mhm.
the signer, and they're doing their KYC.
Yeah,
You're just you don't
correct.
have any liability. Yeah, you're just signing.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like they're still going to want to know who. They're not going to let some anonymous person sign for anything.
And that people should realize when they're using a company and like when they get their EINs and they're setting everything up and they're having to answer questions like, what's this company doing?
Mhm.
And they don't want to talk about cryptos. And so I just tell them it's real estate investing. So
Mhm.
what? It doesn't matter what you tell people. It doesn't even matter what you tell the IRS when you're getting your EIN, because the articles you filed with the state are binding on the company, and that's it.
Mhm.
So you tell them whatever you have to get the account open, but don't tell them cryptos, because you're going to be, scrutinized, or you won't get the account.
We build websites, marketing and web development.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very easy. Just say something simple.
Yeah. And I was just looking the other
Everybody builds a
day,
website at some point.
and I'll probably include this in my instructions, but when I do one and then people want to go open an account, let's say at one of these exchanges, Gemini, for example,
Coinbase, Gemini.
Coinbase, some of them, I mean, I don't know about those two, but there's some other ones out there that want crazy things. Like they want to see your organizational chart. They want to see your
Yeah.
business plan. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
I was like, what
No,
the
we,
heck?
we've
Yeah.
we've gone through that, even ones that aren't in the US, where they wanted to see all kinds of board documents and stuff, and we had to create all kinds of stuff just to create accounts.
You can create it. Yeah. The problem is when you start doing that, you start giving up names,
Yeah.
whether or not the people are real. Then they ask you about IDs for those people.
Mhm.
And it's just nuts. At some point you got to say, look, guys, do you want my account or not?
Yeah.
But I just realized on the organizational chart, if anyone ever actually needs one, all you got to do is go to fiverr.com. Somebody will do one for you for $5. I mean, you
Yeah.
can do a whole chart. They'll do it in like 6 hours. So,
Yeah.
not that I would say try not to give up that data, but if you have to, I mean, if you need a real one, there you go.
Yeah.
They'll do it for like $5 or $15.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, what we're seeing, okay, we were talking about this before the call, is, people go into court and they get a traffic ticket and they're going to pay it. You're not going to win that. That's why people don't even go. They just pay most of the time. So what they're doing though is these court systems, they're not courts anymore. The courts we used to have before 1971 were abolished. So instead of courts, we actually have businesses. You can even look it up if you don't know. You can look up the name of your court. It'll go by the county and the name of the court building, and then you look it up on Dun and Bradstreet. I found mine just out of curiosity, and it was like, if I wanted to see a copy of the credit report, it gave me a summary of its balance sheet. But then it said, if you want to see the credit report, it was like $150 or something from Dun and Bradstreet, which I didn't buy it, but I was like curious. Wow. So my court is a business.
Wow.
It's got its own credit file, and I can go look and see what it's buying and selling and what it's investing in.
That's wacky.
Well, they're also financializing court cases, John. I mean,
Well, yeah.
that?
But here's
you
what
got
they're
two
doing.
docket numbers, man.
They do. And moreover, they take the defendant, which is usually people like us, right? They make us the surety for the securities they're creating from the case. And that's the business. It's the business of the court. And so what these are in the structure of the business, it's not like you and I would set up a corporation. What they've done is set up private associations. And they're international. I know y'all have heard of the International Bar, the State Bar, and there's like, bar organization. It's a labor union.
Yeah.
But it's a private association, and the rules of the association govern what happens in the courts. It's not the rules of civil procedure, although they're going to follow those, but it's actually the rules of the association.
So what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, this is what's happening. It's not what you think. It's not the statute. It's not the rule. What they're doing is they're using the statute to make the bonds valuable. They're making you the debtor. And when you come into court, the sole purpose of the judge acting as trustee in the association, his job is to take your money.
Exactly correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, the whole thing is based on, to really break this down for people to understand, you want to imagine this. It's a diametrically opposite world. To the uninitiated, it looks like you're going into a legal courthouse. You gotta see the judge, but you don't understand. You're entering into a financialized institution whose very design is to profit off of you, is to merchandise off of you, is to extract your value from you because you're a human resource. This goes into the whole entire Social Security birth certificate truth.
Yeah.
It's not a theory, it's a truth. You know,
our courts are broker dealers.
Exactly. You're the commodity.
They are broker dealers, and the case number is the identity of the identification for the security, and you're the surety.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, so you know, people talk about admiralty law and the UCC, codes and all this other stuff. Well, you look at the admiralty law. I mean, why is it that you're in a court? They have the golden fringes around the American flag. Anybody ask that question? Frank, did you know about that?
No.
Frank,
Joe,
okay.
Why
don't you break that down, man?
The judge is operating under a foreign charter. Period.
Bingo.
It ain't the Constitution you think. It's his Constitution, which he's been chartered under a foreign power, foreign agent.
Wow.
Exactly.
And that
correct.
gets way deep. That gets way deep. I don't want to get into too far on that one. But basically, you don't have a judge. He's not operating under the U.S. Constitution.
Wow.
Exactly. That's a whole series that we could do a show on. That's a whole other thing. But in order to get started real quick, I know we're getting close to the end of the broadcast real quick, but what's the best way for people to get started? And what do we got? And X, why don't you go through the litany of things that people can start with?
Well, do the basic things as far as managing your mail. Look at where your risks are. Look at where you're disclosing your personal information when you go to the doctor and whatever. Keep track of that. Find out who has it. If you're not going somewhere anymore, like to a provider, make sure you go get your records or make sure the records are destroyed. Of course, what else? I mean, you mean to have people go where? To one of the websites? I mean,
well, yeah. And what would you recommend to start besides the what are some of the things that they can get right now to really protect themselves?
Well, look at a dedicated device for managing your cryptos, for computer access to important data like your bank accounts. A dedicated device, the ape is a good one. You can use a computer as long as you format it correctly, use the right operating system. Look at setting up a bank account to replace your personal banking. So probably I would suggest almost nobody have a personal bank account. You should be banking as a trustee or signing for a company.
And I'll have a solution for all that soon, John. I can't wait to share that with you. Completely off-grid banking, bro.
Yeah. I've got something too.
Yeah, that's
nice.
We're gonna have to compare notes before.
Oh, we're definitely going to be doing some sort of hybridized system. I guarantee you that, man.
Oh, a little. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, there's some stuff out there that it's too much, man. We can't talk about it in one call.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course. For a basic bank setup, we always say pretty much everybody should use our smart banking product at RemainCalm.net. That's obvious.
Yeah.
That's a start, and that's a good place to start. Start using VPNs. The Ape is a great device to use if you want to manage cryptos. We got something. Speaking of cryptos, sorry, this is a little off topic, guys. We're doing a free webinar Friday. And you could register at watchestrade.io. And the particular topic, we always talk about what we do at Watches Trade. Of course, you're going to have to sit through that, folks. Come on. But we're going to be talking about how to catch the next crypto rocket. And I'm going to do, for some people, this will be really old hat stuff. But for other people, it'll be pretty illuminating. And that's how to get into cryptos without just buying a bunch of cryptos. Yeah. Which people don't really understand that there is a way to do that. There's a way to trade cryptos without always being stuck in cryptos. And so I'm going to explain that on Friday if people want to join us 1 p.m. Eastern. So I don't know if there's a link in the description for that, V, but you could just go to watchestrade.io and there's a button in the upper right hand corner. You could register for it. So that's all I got. RemainCalm.net. You can find everything we do at RemainCalm.net, by the way. If you need a consultation, that website is like we open up the garage of services. It's just all. It's like, what are you looking for? We got you, kid. You want a bank account? You want to get funding? You want to trade?
Perfect.
I'm
here, man. Absolutely.
I thought you had a stroke them. Listen, I'm very inspired. People don't know this, but before we got on air, X had his camera on. And he de-aged himself. He was more de-aged than Samuel Jackson in Captain Marvel. He lost 30 years since the last time I saw him, and I'm really inspired.
Wow. He looks fantastic. He looks like a Hollywood star.
He's
He looks
extremely
exactly like his avatar. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, he looks like the doofus, but with a slightly different shaped mouth.
Thanks for exaggerating, guys.
No,
No,
dude, you look great.
You're
look
camera ready, bro. You're photogenic. Turn like
Totally.
20, 30 years back. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Unreal.
It's bananas.
A phenom, this man. An absolute phenom.
A phenom.
Oh my God.
He's a blonde bombshell.
The
Don't even.
All tanned out.
I see my wife now. She stares at my abs. She's looking at my abs. You know how you look. You look up and down somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my wife now. She's looking at my abs.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Did you get her on the? Did you get her on the snake diet too?
I tried. She's
brutal.
Hanging in there. Yeah, well, it could be. I mean, I'm used to it now.
The all bacon diet.
I like that. Yeah. Now, see,
I
could do all bacon, but here's the thing: I only eat once every 36 hours.
Wow, really? You still do that once every 36 hours?
Yeah, sometimes it's 48, but it's usually 36. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so all bacon, I would have like 3 pounds of bacon, and then drink my tea, and then that'd be it.
Yep.
Wow. I was doing pretty good with it. I'm way off track now, but I was doing okay with it. I got to get back on. I hate the snake juice. The salty taste in my mouth drives me crazy. So
yeah, add baking soda.
I'll tough through it. Yeah, that does help. That's right. I did that once, and
the borax and what do you call it? The borax Epsom salt mixture.
I've never done the borax. What does that do for you?
It just dilutes it further, so it actually tastes like less salty, almost not salty.
You could put a little lemon juice in it, can't you?
You could do that too, yeah.
That helps a lot. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I got to get back on with it. I was doing so good, and then.
Oh, it's so great though. When it's time to eat, man, I will go restaurant hopping. I will go to 2 or 3 restaurants, or I'll have like 2 or 3 entrees, 2 or 3 appetizers, and 2 or 3 desserts.
Do you eat whatever you want pretty much now?
Yeah, whatever the hell I want. Yep.
Wow. So you don't eat often, but you just eat like a crazy person.
Yeah, I literally do eat nothing except I drink salt water. Sometimes I have lemon juice on ice, but like once a month. And then every couple of weeks I have a little bit of turpentine.
Seriously?
That's crazy. But yeah, I drink turpentine.
That's nuts. Why?
It gets rid of any. No, I'm not.
No, he's not. No.
It gets rid of any parasites, which I don't have any, but I just do it anyway.
Good, man.
What does
it does actually taste good. Yeah, it's like tastes like pine.
That's insane.
You just have like a little teaspoon of it. Like if I have a bunch of carbs at the end of what I'm eating, like I have lots of vanilla yogurt or some or ice cream, then I'll have a teaspoon of turpentine at the very end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, I want to go pound some.
Wow. Well, I'm going live. Anybody cares? I'm going live in the Watches Trade Room. So,
all right.
For those who are listening, I'm
guys, thank you so much for being on. Again, at a future date, we will be back on with more pertinent, amazing information.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Good talk to you guys.
All right.
Always a pleasure,
Frank.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.